5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello, I'm Nick Briggs, and you're listening to the Legend of the Traveling Tardis. Did you say Traveling Time Lord?
Do it again. Just do it again. Just for the
Okay.
Just for the sake. Go ahead, Nick.
Hello, I'm Nicholas Briggs, and this is the Legend of the Traveling Tardis.
My name is Christian Basil. Years ago, I had an idea. I got myself a TARDIS. Took it to new places, met a lot of new people, took some great pictures, and talked Doctor Who. From Krypton Radio and the creators of the Hanging With web show, this is the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. Join me on my latest adventures and become part of the legend.
I'm keeping it, Nick. I'm keeping it.
You've got to.
That intro is
just,
in.
Just got to. It has to be.
We're keeping that in. There will be. It is now not only on video, it is now forever in audio. Thank you so much there, folks. Thank you, everybody, for joining us here at the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. Thank you for joining us, for those of you who were with our interview with Colin Spall earlier on our live feed. Thank you, and thank you for joining us here on our live feed now with the legendary Nicholas Briggs. Is that even fair to say?
I'm going with it. I'm going with it.
Yes. With me let me go ahead and introduce my panel. Well, you know what? Nick doesn't age. I don't believe you age at all. I think you just I think you just put on a beard and that's how you look old. That's how you got. I just want to say this to everybody.
Distract you.
Yeah, let me go ahead and introduce the game. I want to tell everybody a little bit of trivia, just a weird trivia about you there. You're going to enjoy this, though. I want to introduce the lovely Melanie Dean, who is our co-host, director, and artiste. If you want to check it out, if you're checking up on the live feed, you can see some of her wonderful work. And the Traveling TARDIS. 3 months now, Little Boy Blues been in lockdown at your house.
Well, it came back from the UK and had to go into quarantine just like me.
I know.
And it's just been sitting around here hanging out. So if you want it in the mail, we'll put it in the post.
She says that, but does she do it? No. Speaking of which, I have no segue here because I'm the lousy segue in the world. I have Mr. Matthew Crisall. Mr. Crisall is with the Conquesturberus. And we just I wanted to make just to remind everybody, Conquesturberus has now moved to October. Matthew, you talk about Conquesturberus. I'm going to just ruin it.
Of course. North Alabama's Doctor Who convention. It'll be October 10th and 11th, hopefully. COVID in the state of Alabama pending, of course. And will be our 7th event, I believe, and we'll be hopefully joined by Catherine Tate, Donna Noble herself, Eric and Eliza Roberts, and Kelly Yates of the IDW and Titan Doctor Who comics range.
Awesome.
Nice.
Awesome there. And do you have any guests as far as lined up as of yet, or is it the same guest? Or
it'll be the same guest, hopefully. Once again, fingers crossed.
Can I make a mention?
I will say we have been in touch with Mr. Briggs's representatives and never heard anything back. So,
which representative?
Oh, look what I started.
My agent.
I think so. Whoever does your website. It has been a while, but we did try and get in touch.
Oh, okay. That's my wife.
Oh no!
Maybe she doesn't want you coming to Alabama. I don't know.
That's it. Oh, she does have a big thing against Alabama. No.
That's understandable, really.
Oh my!
I would be
thanks,
way.
everybody. That was a great show. Everybody, good night now. As I take down the shower curtain there. And if you have a chance right now, please, you can subscribe to the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS on Spreaker, on our family of iHeartRadio. Melanie D does not know what that icon is, so I have to tell her it is Podbean. Spotify, radio.com, NSC Live TV. You can check us out there. We are also on pretty much anywhere where you can get your podcasts from. We are on Apple, iPod, Tunes, or whatever the heck they want to call themselves now this week. And we want to thank our sponsors. Also, you can catch us. Episodes drop on KryptonRadio.com, run by Gene Turnbow and Susan Fox. Lovely couple who 24 hours of nonstop geekery. Anything geek-wise, KryptonRadio.com. They play the music from John Williams. They play Lord of the Rings, Doctor Who, Star Trek, Star Wars, you name it. It's 24 hours, no matter where you're listening to. KryptonRadio.com. You got to check it out there. And now I want to put up a big picture of Nick Briggs. Let me find it over here. I have a big picture. Oh, so wait, no, I'm sorry. That's not. No, not that one either. I'm sorry there. Not that. Oh God, I'm really sorry there. So exactly. That one is the one I love. This one. Now, did you do that? Was it that Henry Caviezel thing? Did they blot out the beard or something like that?
I just didn't have a beard then.
Oh, you didn't?
No, I do shave it off from time to time, but I think I was going through a long beardless period at that point.
That sounds rather depressing. Speaking of which, there is an actual. I don't know what was it called, Nick? There is a Facebook page dedicated to your facial hair. I am dead serious.
Beard Appreciation Society. Yeah.
I'm serious. There is. Melanie is not that look. There is.
I do pop in from time to time to just give them an update on the beard. Kevin Parker set it up. He's a very nice man. And it's very, to coin a phrase, tongue-in-cheek. They're not seriously interested in my beard. They're just having a little joke at my expense, basically. But people,
you could have just ran with it. Just say, you know what? There's fans of this hair. There's fans of this thing.
I know. Get in touch with me and say, "Am I right in thinking you've got a Facebook page about your beard?" I say, "Yes, yeah. I'm very proud of it. Very proud of it."
Well, in fairness, a lot of people have had quarantine beards and just quarantine everything. So
yeah. Mine is a quarantine beard, but it was there before the quarantine.
Exactly. Yes, it was there way before the quarantine. Just like there isn't, and Nick goes in there every so often, take a picture of him, does a selfie, and just says, "Here's what's going on with the beard today." I'm like.
Every now and again, I shave it off completely, and there's just to appall everyone. Actually, the last time I shaved it off, I did not like what I saw underneath. Wait!
Look at that handsome man right there. Look at that.
Was years
Sherlock
ago.
Holmes.
That was years ago.
Oh,
that was at least 10 years ago.
Melanie, tell me, if he shaved the beard, he would still look like that.
Absolutely.
I think I'd look a bit scrawnier.
But no, I understand that my husband does that same thing where he'll have facial hair, and then at some point where it's got to the point where it's just too itchy, and he's like, you know what, I'm just gonna shave it off and just moisturize everything. And he does it, and I'll just walk into him and go, "Who are you?" Because it's just kind of arresting because I haven't seen him like that in a while, and then it just slowly it comes back.
Yes, because we get, but once we, the beard
I'm bored.
It's a good age shield, because once you put that thing on your face, allow it there, it's what people mostly see when they look at you, and so they don't take so much notice of how everything else is going wrong. That's what Benjamin Cook suggested to me anyway. Ben Cook, later Doctor Who magazine, well, I don't know whether he still writes for them, doesn't he? But yeah, he said you've got the perfect trick there, because also having no hair at all, you can't really tell how white it's going because it's all shaved off,
But I've never heard of that. It's an age shield. That is like the most perfect noun to explain that it's protecting me.
So if you want people not to know your age, shave all your hair off and grow a beard.
Okay, I'll get right on that.
For all of
Oh my God.
I've got the Italian DNA. I can probably get it. Do it.
I was thinking of dyeing it purple. What do we think?
Ooh, well, you get the length and then do the raccoon kind of band in there. That would be that would be arresting. No one will.
Little twist at the bottom there.
I'm not, but it does get quite long. And maybe I could do it then. But it really divides my friends. Some of them go, yeah, great idea. My wife thinks it's a great idea. But for example, Rob Sherman went, what? Are you mad? I mean, he was
Rob was just
yeah,
has
he
room
was
to talk
utterly
there.
appalled.
Rob was just worried about having his own beard upstaged.
No one can upstage that beard. It's like, you know, the people who don't like to grow flowers and they just grow weeds in their garden. That's what Rob's beard is like. One of those people who doesn't believe in
It
flowers.
is kind of wiry. It's a little wiry there.
Cultivating through negligence. Just
Well,
look at all this.
He doesn't have a vein bone in his body. That's the thing about you know, I spend ages fiddling around with my beard and sort of, you know, people say, oh, that's nicely cut, isn't it? You know, well, if you're an actor, you're largely going to be vain, aren't you? Let's face it.
Well, yeah. Honestly, that's the moneymaker. You have to make sure everything is, you know,
not
shored up
anymore,
and
but
looking
once
good.
upon a time, it might have been.
If you're just joining us on the live chat, yeah, we're talking about Nick's beard. I think that we just spend an hour doing this. Yes, man. Well, speaking of which, you were talking about Rob Sherman. We had him on the show a while back, and he was going. You were talking about Van. The hardest time, the funniest time I've ever laughed is Rob Sherman was explaining about because he had COVID-19. He was going like, yes. Didn't you hear we had a pandemic? Oh, yes, it's just such an inconvenience. It's like, that is something. Rob,
he also wanted to do the interview, I think 2 a.m. his time, because he's like, I'm just more lucid then.
Oh yeah, Rob doesn't keep the same hours as the rest of the human race.
Oh my God, he doesn't. He's like, it's almost 3. We could keep going. I'm like, really?
He's my best friend and was my best man at my wedding, 10 years ago. So that's just to prove to you he is my best friend, you know. And he is really difficult to get hold of because he lives different hours, doesn't, you know, conform to other people's means of communication. It's really, it's always a joy to finally get in touch with him, but sometimes it takes me about 2 weeks to track him down.
No, absolutely. I have a friend. I think we all have a friend like that because I have one that, I mean, I've known him since high school and we won't talk for maybe 6 months at a time. Not out of maliciousness. It's just he's aloof. It's just how he works. And if I do, it's like 2 o'clock in the morning on a Thursday. All of a sudden I get a text message from Marcus like, oh, hey, how are you? You know, that kind of thing. Yeah. And we're just back together again.
Well, that's the funny part. It's because everybody's in the UK. That our friends in the UK, Rob Sherman, Sophie Aldred, all of them, and it's just our relationship. It's just you're busy. I also need emails and say, hey, what's going on? Just to say hi, you know, and just to keep up, and it'll go dead silent, and then all of a sudden there'll be a Facebook posting. I'll just say, I need to find a way to talk about my new audio drama, and I'm just like, do you want to come back? And next thing I know, I'm getting a PM. I'm just like, yeah, I want to come back. It's just like it's all good times there, Nick. It's all good times when we have you on the show. I love it. Speaking of loving it, we do have some chats coming in. We do have people talking. So let me go ahead. Let me go ahead and bring them on there. First of all, we'll introduce Graham Krause. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for spending your Saturday morning. Well, thank you for joining us here with our special interview with Nick, and want to thank Matthew and Melanie for coming up and paneling up today there. Joel McKeel, howdy y'all, and he does say that not loosely at all. Whatever, howdy y'all. Joe, do me a favor because I was on his show. Send me a link and we'll post it up in there in just a few moments to your show out there. J.R. Hibbard. Now, I don't know if you've ever met this man, Nick, but he is our premier Fourth Doctor. If you've ever seen his stuff, he looks spot on. His demeanor when he goes around the conventions is of Tom Baker's, and he carries Jolly Babies and all that. And he has the height, and he has a deep baritone as well. So he really tries to get within the character. So his costume is beautiful. And he has an Instagram page. I think it's the Fourth Doctor, the Fourth Doctor at Instagram. Good morning, all. Good morning, all. Thanks, Joel. I'll never get over that. Good morning, all. Sorry I missed the interview with Colin. I have my coffee now, and I'm ready for another great episode this morning. Thank you. Good. Lady Gallifrey, better known as Gina Barres. Good morning, everybody. And I can't thank this woman enough. I've never really given her due, but this is Meredith Lawren. Meredith is the reason why we even have the StreamYard, and she's been very supportive of local stuff, like Melanie when she does her paintings live, like the Traveling Tardis, like Brian K. Morris, all these people out here, all these local. She's a big supporter. So if you get a chance, Meredith, put some links up. I'm gonna post them up here so everybody can see on the private chat, because you definitely deserve a big hand for all the stuff you do for the local stuff. Now, back to talking about Nick Briggs and his Facebook site. But Nick, for those who may have just joined Doctor Who recently, who may not be familiar with your work or heard it on Doctor Who, tell us a little bit about yourself and just tell us a little bit about Big Finish.
Okay, a little bit about myself. I work on the TV series of Doctor Who as the voice of the Daleks, the Cybermen, the Judoon, lots of monsters and things. But yeah, my day job is creative director, executive producer of Big Finish Productions. Big Finish Productions have, since 1999, had a license from the BBC to make original Doctor Who audio drama, and we use all the surviving classic Doctors. We've worked with David Tennant as well, but yeah, does that sort of cover it? Most recently,
so that was the Cliff's Notes, because I mean the amount of Big Finish audios out there and the depth and how you've taken the universe that you've seen on television and just exploded it. I mean, just thinking of like the Paternoster Gang and just all these other amazing stories. And it's not just like one little story. I mean, you just, okay, we're going this way with the universe and we're going this way with the universe. You really condensed it down, but I want all of our listeners to know just there's so much of a wealth of amazing, as you say, you love stories, and it's amazing. I
mean, our biggest problem is when people go to bigfinish.com, they go, where do I start? Because there's just so much of it. And we don't just do Doctor Who, we do other things. We do Space 1999 most recently, and The Prisoner, The Avengers, Callan, and lots of Torchwood, obviously, the Doctor Who spin-off there, and Class, funny enough, we've done that. Dorian Gray, which is an entirely original thing, created by wonderful Scott Handcock. And talking of originals,
Nick, I'm sorry. Let me put you on hold because we are on a hard break. But when we return, we're going to continue our discussion with Nick Briggs with Big Finish. We're going to get into that. And I did want to get into the question on how we could start people who've never heard of or maybe just questioning about getting into Big Finish, how to get into Big Finish. We return. Please continue to stay logged on, tune in, and continue to become part of the legend. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. My name is Christian Basil. If you're joining us on the live feed, thank you so much. Don't forget to chat into the description if you're on the Facebook page or the YouTube channel. If you're on the Krypton Radio Facebook page or the Hanging With, you can just chat as if you were discussing with us, and we'll all see it. We'll definitely want to continue our discussion with Nick Briggs. I'm here with Matthew Crisall of Comcast Cerberus in Huntsville, Alabama. Check him out on October. We'll get more into that discussion at the end of the show. I'm here with the lovely director Melanie Dean, as well as co-host and artiste. If you're watching live on the YouTube channel, on the Facebook or YouTube channel, you can see all of her magnificent artwork in the background out there. Yes, gorgeous artwork here. But speaking of gorgeous, we were talking about man's facial hair. This is Nick Briggs. I wanted to continue that discussion that you were having there because we were going into how much product Big Finish has out there. And yes, Big Finish, we do love stories there. And after the show, please check it out at bigfinish.com. But Nick, go ahead.
Originals. Just saying originals.
That's right. To celebrate our 20th anniversary, which was a year or so ago now, we decided rather than looking back and celebrating all the wonderful stuff we have done, we wanted to celebrate our creativity. So we came up with the idea of doing an originals range where we created completely original stuff, not based on established franchises, just to sort of demonstrate our own creativity. And I have written and directed and created a Big Finish original series called The Human Frontier, which is a sci-fi epic, which has just recently come out. And I'm really grateful to say it's had rave reviews. And I've just had a second series confirmed. I think it's
gosh.
Yeah. So it's the quickest selling, I think, of all of them. Check it out. The the first episode is actually free on the site, and that's something where you were talking before the break about, how do people get into Big Finish? What do they do first? And if you go to bigfinish.com and you click the collections tab at the top, you can see that one of the collections is Big Finish for free. And everything in that collection is free to download. I mean, you have to register on the site, but that costs you nothing. And for example, The Human Frontier, Possibility of Life, which is the first episode, that's free. And you'll see loads of first episodes of things to give you a real taste of what's going on. I'm just scrolling down now, and it just goes on forever. There's a unit, there's the Companion Chronicles, the Daleks there's H.G. Wells stuff, The Shape of Things to Come. Dan Dare.
Everybody's pulling out their phones.
I'm just whizzing through the Avengers. There's just loads of stuff, and it's all free, and you can just download it. Oh, Dracula, starring Mark Gatiss.
Yeah.
Yeah, Terrorhawks. I'm sure you're all big Terrorhawks fans. Just the list is almost never ending. So that's a good way for you to get a flavor of what we do. And then there are an awful lot of releases that are, we have regular special offers. So, very low prices as well. So, there
was an incredible sale. I mean, I was just, because of the situation here with COVID and people being furloughed or laid off, I was watching the money situation, and one day there was an incredible sale, and I would like, I always say, I was just filling in the blanks. I was just, you can get free audios, and I just, what was it?
Well, and what you're showing there is the Big Finish app, which is a free listening app. And there we are. Look, that's a brilliant advert. Yes, there.
It honestly is a very, very user-friendly app. So if anyone's just kind of like listening and you're like, you know what the heck, I'm going to go ahead and download the app. Go onto your app store, go onto Google Play, get the app. It's honestly very easy to navigate, and I've never had any technical issue with it. It's simple. You can, once you make a purchase, you can download it, and it's on your device. I mean, I can't say enough. And just the content.
Look at that, scrolling like mad. Also, you can get our free digital magazine on there, Vortex, which has got all behind the scenes stuff, interviews with writers and all the creatives. And more and more free stuff's available on there. And the free stuff now if you click that you want this, you can get little push notices that tell you when there's free stuff out. So what's not to love about that?
Yes.
It fits all in the palm of your hand.
We just became the biggest.
Matthew.
We just became an infomercial right now.
That's what I'm here for.
No, there was
Also
one day
to talk about the human frontier.
Yes, we are.
Yes.
But we got to make some sales here.
Yes,
but yeah,
please.
there was
I'm going to look at the sales figures after this. And if we ever sell one copy of the Human Frontier, I'm going to want my money back. Oh, hold on, I haven't paid it.
Hang on a second.
Sending. Yeah, we got to get it. But yeah, there was
Christian, I know that you haven't heard the Human Frontier yet, and you said I've got to convince you to get it. What do you want to know that would convince you?
You wrote it. It's Big Finish. I think that was enough convincing right there. But yeah, it's just simply time, because there was one big sale. I got to confess, and I'll read off the titles. I just went insane because, like I said, I normally just I wait for the sales. I got the Doctor Who ID, Medicinal Purposes, Night Thoughts, Scaredy Cat, Scherzo, which is one of my favorites. Rob Sherman.
Yeah, I hate that one.
You hate that one?
I'm always saying that to Rob just to annoy Rob. I really hate it. What's that about?
So I know that
he's my best friend.
I know Christian had made us, not made us, but it was he put out the edict of everybody saying, hey, download the War Master, beneath the Viscoid, so we can start, because that's going to be the next Big Finish review that we're going to be doing. I haven't started yet, but I purchased and downloaded it, and I just need to.
It's a fantastic set. If you haven't heard the War Master, that first War Master set, it is a fantastic piece of work.
I love the theme tune as well. Thought they did a great job of that. Yeah.
And as Nick says, you can get first portions of audio. The way that I've mentioned is the free comic book day. There's always the first intro to that series. If you're not interested, you don't have to get, but you at least listen to a portion of it. But exactly. I got to say, the free ones. Jenny one. Jenny,
Yeah, the doctor's daughter.
Stolen Goods. I'm going to be getting into that when I have time. There's just no time in the world.
That's the problem, isn't it?
Download, because when we used to go to what I used to do is, because I have let me get here. Oh God!
And he's left. And he's gone. Anyway, highly professional show we have.
No, I will tell you, this is just a thumbnail. When I used to go to conventions and get the CDs, because I would listen to them because the conventions would be in like Lake City or Miami, and I would listen to a whole episode on the way to the convention and on the way back. So it made my trip. But now I can listen to them on audio, put on Bluetooth, and just go. But I still have all of these, Gallifrey. The Gallifrey series. We almost forgot about that. I love her as the third Romana. She has done an excellent job, Juliet Landau. So yes.
What is the human frontier? What is the basic? I know. Let's back to topic, Christian.
Come on.
Okay, well, you got to convince me to listen to
what is the human frontier,
which I'm already going to listen to. But let's hear. You got to convince me.
It's an epic sci-fi series. It's an epic journey as well. It's about many things, but the original idea was, I'm fascinated by the idea, because you see it on social media all the time, of how people from different versions of human civilization clash all the time because they have different ideas about what they hold dear to themselves. And I always think that in Doctor Who, people are always a bit suspicious about the ones that go into the past. But, the past is like an alien planet, really, with different people and different values. And I think if we were really to just travel back 50 years, we would all find ourselves in a very uncomfortable position with the way we speak, the vocabulary we use, the assumptions about what is true or important, all those kind of things. Imagine going back 300 years. It would be almost impossible to survive, I think. And so I just had this idea of what would happen if in the future two versions of the human race were separated in time. And the idea basically is that a businessman decides to fund a mission to a planet a long way away. He puts about 1,000 people into cryogenic suspension and sends them off. It's going to take them about 1,000 years to get there. Well, funnily enough, when they get there, the human race has evolved to a point where faster than light travel exists. And there's a whole bunch of the human race has now colonized the planet they're going to, and they've been there for 300 years. So the difference, and the cryogenic people, their journey was secret. So the people who traveled faster than light to the planet don't know this other lot are turning up. So there's a whole culture clash about the difference between them. And also lots of cool sci-fi stuff going on around and on the planet as well.
Like Woody Allen in Sleepers. If anybody remembers that movie.
But that's a great concept that you've got a fixed point of time with these people, that that you've solved it by the whole having them cryogenically frozen, so you don't have to worry about them aging, and that they can get over there and then start their lives again. But here, meanwhile, while as they're going, time's going, the human race is going, technology's going. Oh well, bloop, we're already here. While they're just still making their way.
That was a perfect representation with a pen and your fingers.
That's what I do. I'm an analogy person.
That summed it up perfectly. It's also it's a love story. It's a murder story as well. It's the whole human experience. And the only criticism I've received about it is that the people think it doesn't quite wrap everything up at the end. I did that on purpose because I wanted a second series.
Because of the second series, yeah,
exactly. And so but I mean, it is a satisfying story in itself. I don't want people going into the first series thinking, "Oh, it's just not going to end, is it? It's just going to go on." It's it's got a beginning, middle, and end. It's just that there's possibility for more afterwards. So
is it more of a
passion for me, writing this? It was it had been in my mind for years, and finally had to splurge out in quite a short amount of time. It's fascinating because almost all the writing I've done is just get that shower curtain sorted. It's when the shower starts working, you just get soaked. All my writing has been for other people's ideas. Doctor Who, 1999, The Prisoner. So to actually be set free, but also put at risk by doing my own thing. It's quite, because once you're just expressing your ideas, people are exposed to what's really going on in your head. And I've always said that the reason I do this job, which I'm so lucky to do, I don't underestimate that, is to make the crazy stuff in my head come to life in some way. That's always, ever since being a child, that's always what I wanted to do, whether you're playing with, figures. Little Dalek guest appearance there. Christian's looking for his now. He wants to join in. Let's do a movie. Okay. Let's try that files.
We can do a big finish audio right now if we wanted to. I have a Matt Smith.
Matthew's one is my favorite, actually.
Yes.
This was, Character Options sent me this one because they thought I'd like it, which was nice. Actually, I say one.
I just like him. He was $10. But he's so detailed, though. I like him.
There's a whole. Is that an invasion Cyberman?
There you go.
It is an invasion Cyberman.
It's my favorite kind. It's my favorite kind. I'll tell you a fascinating story. Yeah. This is fascinating in inverted commas, because it's not fascinating at all. On WhatsApp the other day, a group of friends, one of them, their partner said, Nick, Brian wants to know whether this is your house. And I went, no, it's not my house. It's not even the house I'm going to move to soon, because we're about to move house, by the way. And he said, the reason he thought it, she said, is because it looks like this, which was an Earthshock Cyberman. And I suppose when you looked at the door and everything, you could sort of see that sort of, and I thought, I see what he's getting at. And I said, the reason I didn't recognize it is because this is my favorite Cyberman. And I put it on a picture on WhatsApp of an invasion Cyberman. And of course, none of them are Doctor Who fans. And they said, there's a difference. So just like, what?
Yeah,
what? Of course there's a difference.
Yeah, don't.
I told you it was.
The diehard Whovians will get you. They will eat you alive if you get them all wrong.
Later, I'll tell you a fascinating fact about me moving house, if you like.
Yes, actually, we'll hang on to that fact. Let's get back to the chats there. We have Party Music DJ Aki says, hey. Okay.
Hey.
And there's J.R. Hibbert.
J.R. Hibbert.
Yep, the Fourth Doctor cosplay on Instagram and newly created and still loading hundreds of pictures. Yeah, he just created the Instagram, but you got to check it out, Nick. It's
I can't do Instagram. I'm too old.
Well,
Twitter is my limit. And even
that's mine too, and I can't even go on Twitter too much. Yeah, I can't. I just go in there and it's like it's like walking into a warring faction and then walking out. I'm like, no, not today. It's just crazy in there now. But Graham Krause mentioned Doctor Who Victorious and looking forward to
Time Lord Victorious.
Time Lord Victorious.
Yeah. Listen, I'm the guy who got the intro wrong, so I'm not correcting anyone. Hello, says Kevin Mays. Woo.
Hello, Kevin Mays. Yeah, Melanie will give me a hard time. Well, Simon, we had Simon Fisher-Becker on the last show interview Colin Spall on the live feed just right before you. I have yet to say Dorian Moldavar correctly. I keep on saying door handle Moldavar, hold the door, or something. I will never. Yeah, exactly. Meredith Lauren.
That's all I know.
I should do that to him. Nicholas, do you all play practical jokes on the set? Are you regulated to the basement with a microphone to play by yourself as a voiceover actor?
Well, I am on the set for all the recordings. Well, most of them anyway. There was one Asylum of the Daleks where there was a new director and he didn't realize, Nick Hurren, he was brilliant, but he didn't realize that I was meant to be on the set. So they were trying to film it without me there. And it was getting really, really complicated about finding ways of making the lights flash. And they thought, how will we know that? And Matt Smith eventually said, would it be too difficult to get Nick Briggs here? And they all went, oh, that's an idea. And so when I saw Matt, I said, I see I have you to thank for coming to the set this time. And he said, I'm not being funny, but I mean, it can't be that expensive. I said, well, sadly, you're right, Matt. It's not very expensive at all to get me to the set. But yes, I am there. The rule of thumb is any bit of scenery you see behind a Dalek, I'm usually behind that.
Gotcha.
So I'm very much involved. And when we rehearse the scenes beforehand, you know, for example, Barnaby Edwards, the lead Dalek operator, he does all the movement, and I walk around behind him and say the lines. Now, the reason I do that is because I used to stand at the side and say the lines, but older actors tend to look at whoever is speaking. So we found that if there are any older guest stars on the show, they'd immediately talk to me, you know, which would ruin the blocking of the scene. So now I sneak around behind Barnaby like I'm hiding up the back of his jumper or something, you know. And that's our little system for rehearsal. So, yeah. But largely, I would say I can't really call to mind any practical jokes because it's all quite serious and about getting it done, you know?
Yeah.
And so, yeah. I would love to be able to tell you a story about how I put a bar of soap into.
Do we have to make this a 2-hour episode now? Because you want to talk about the house, you want to talk bars of soap. Speaking of bars of soap,
I don't want to talk about bars of soap anyway.
Speaking of bars of soap, we're on a commercial break. When we return, we're going to continue our discussion. Melanie is just giving me a dirty look. When we return, we're going to continue our discussion with Nicholas Briggs. When we return, please stay logged on, tune in, and continue to become part of the legend.
Destroy the files.
Welcome back to the Legend of the Traveling Tardis. We have taken over. If you're watching us on the live feed, we have taken over this broadcast because of Legend TARDIS. TARDIS is now ours. We have to. Oh wow, what's Nick doing? I just saw a close up of the Dalek. I don't know if you. I don't know. You're not.
It's like that.
Hearing this.
It's like that scene from the first Dalek story when they give him the fall medicine and everything goes crazy.
Yeah.
If you're listening to this on the audio, Nick,
Don't explain. Just keep going with it. Let people
go. Just keep going.
Together.
Nick has panned the camera down towards his
desk.
towards the Daleks. So we can see his Klingons.
He's panned his camera down towards his
Daleks. Is this a Mad Libs now? Anyway, speaking of Mad Libs, back to your chats. This is Faith Kelly. She's our premier 13th Doctor. She's gorgeous. She's absolutely gorgeous. Good morning, yeah. And she says hello, good morning. But Faith, give us your Instagram link so we can. She is gorgeous. I meant there's very few 13th Doctors I have. There's actually on the Facebook page, The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS, I actually have an album called No Sir, All 13s. And it's nothing but pictures of the Traveling TARDIS with 13s. All the girls and a few guys who have posed as the 13th Doctor there.
That's good.
Just in honor of them. Tanya Harper. Hola. The wife jumped in. Christian looks so cute today. Great.
Really?
Never mind. Thanks, honey. And Meredith Lawlin. Don't drop the soap.
That's when I was panning down to my
Daleks.
Okay, so
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Faith
after you.
I'm the Doctor. Ring any bells? Yes, it does, my dear. And here's her Instagram at 101 cosplays to see. You check out Faith out there.
Okay.
What were you going to say, Melanie?
I have a question for Nick. I want to know about this moving story, especially with COVID going on. How?
Well, the funny thing is, we just put an offer in on a property about a day before lockdown happened, and then everything froze. Now, things have just, because Boris Johnson has made this incredible discovery that apparently COVID-19 isn't quite so bad for you if you want to create economic growth. They've been, and also if your political advisor gets into trouble, you better make lockdown a little less strict so that people forget about the political advisor. So just being a bit controversial there, folks. So now you can buy houses, you can continue with I just saw the market out in the street today and no one was social distancing, so I just presume I'll wake up tomorrow and everyone will be dead. But that may not happen, folks. So yes, we're going to move. Now, I live in quite a small coastal town, and the funny thing about it was that I discovered after I'd been here for a while, and I moved here about 10 years ago, that Chris Chibnall lives here as well. And indeed, the beach here is the beach from Broadchurch. So, because Chris basically, he wrote a story about sort of where he lives. And then I remembered that when I bumped into Chris years and years ago, when we were doing Victory of the Daleks, and he came to the set with one of his sons, and he said, "How are things, Nick? You know, we used to bump into each other occasionally from time to time." And I said, "Oh, fine, we're thinking of moving, actually." "Oh, where are you thinking of moving to?" I said, "Oh, Dorset." He said, "I live in Dorset." I said, "Oh, right, we're thinking of going to a place called," I won't mention the place. And he said, "That's where I live. You should come. It's great there. There's loads of people." "Oh, yeah, it's really lovely atmosphere. It's quite a small place." And I said, and I forgot all about that until after being there for a few years. And some silly comment I made about a restaurant on Twitter, he said, "I'm going to take you for a meal there, Nick." So we went and had lunch there. And we had a couple of lunches. And then the next thing is he becomes the showrunner of Doctor Who. And so every now and again, you know, I've been round to see him. And then people at the BBC cut out of interviews that I've said I live 7 minutes away from Chris Chibnall. Because I used to say I lived 10 minutes away from Chris Chibnall until I walked around there and realised I had to slow down. Otherwise, I would have got there in 5 minutes. I don't want to be early. I don't want to seem too keen. Anyway, we were looking for a new house. And unfortunately for Chris, he does live in the nicest street in this town, where all the nice houses are. And so we ended up buying a house in his street, so I'm now about 30 seconds, or will be about 30 seconds from Chris Chibnall. I mean, the good thing is he's very good humoured about it. When we were having our second viewing of the house, my wife, my son and I just walked out in the street, and I was saying, you know, Chris lives in this street. And my wife said, "Oh God, yes, he does, doesn't he?" And then I said, "Hold on, that's him." He was just walking ahead of us. She said, "Go, say hello." And I said, "I don't want to bother him, you know." And she went, "No, God." I went, "Oi, Chris!" And he turned round. I said, "I'm really sorry to tell you, mate, but we're probably going to buy a house in your street." He said, "Oh, which one?" I told him. He said, I said, "It's got 3 parking spaces." This is why I said, buy it, because parking spaces are like gold dust in this town. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I texted him the other day and said to him, "We should be moving in on the 13th of July. There goes the neighbourhood."
Oh my God.
So, oh my God.
His theory is that there'll be a Doctor Who tour of this town and the bus will go down that street.
Lord knows there might already be a tour for Broadchurch already, kind of people still kind of.
Well, that's true. I mean, this is essentially Broadchurch we're living in. So, yeah.
Oh my God.
I would tell you, for pedants out there, the town in Broadchurch is not the town here. It's just the beach area that was used for Broadchurch. They filmed the town bits in a much more picturesque place, a lot further west than we are. The further west you get, the more picturesque Britain gets, basically.
Mm-hmm. Years ago,
a lot of people living in the east going, "How dare you say that?"
Years ago, I had the opportunity to do a 10K that was the Jurassic Coast 10K, and then I ended up Broadchurch came out, and I went, "Wait a minute, I know that. I've been there. I ran through it." Some areas are very steep, and they did a number on my knees. So yeah.
Did you go up that bit of cliff? Then?
Yeah,
it's really steep, isn't it?
Well, I know one side has stairs, or I guess you could call them steps because there's some wood planks to help get you up. But the other side coming down, that faces, I think it's more the picturesque stuff that you saw on the show. There's nothing there. You just keep going, pray you don't fall, and if you do, tuck and roll.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you wouldn't want to fall down there. No, that would be quite. Sorry, there are clicking noises in the background because I'm just fondling this Dalek. I don't know why. It's a sort of like a security blanket, except Dalek shaped.
Dalek shaped. But that's where I did learn beaches there had pebbles, because I'm in Florida, so I'm always used to sand beaches, maybe even shells and stuff. But I never was used to that little pebbles being on a beach. I'm like, oh well, this is interesting. But yeah, it was incredible watching the show and going, wait. Oh my God! I have photos from there before it became.
Well, it did wonders for the tourism here, of course, because people came to visit to look at all the Broadchurch locations. In fact, you know, I don't know whether you remember him. I think it was the second series of Broadchurch. There was a little wooden hut that David Tennant's character lived in, and
it's like
yes,
it's like on the water.
Yeah,
that's right, and it's tiny. It's tiny, and I mean, you know, it's like someone's garden shed, really. But because it featured in Broadchurch, it's sold for, someone put it on the market and it's sold for an obscene amount of money. It's sold for the kind of money you'd pay for, you know, a 2-bedroom big house or whatever. But anyway.
Well, that's a sales pitch when you sell your previous house. Nick Briggs lived here. So
it's too late. Someone's bought it.
Oh, it's for the next one. And it's next to Chris Chibnall the next time.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we're not right next door. Right. I don't know how many doors away we are. I'm thinking 5, 6, something like that. Yeah.
So, Nick, here we go. I did find a picture. Not only that, they sent it to me. It's both of them. It's Faith and it's JR. Together with the Traveling Tardis.
Oh yeah, they look great, don't they?
They look lovely. They are very
the Traveling Tardis there,
which we have yet to get a picture of you with yet. I got to get you here.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to be traveling for quite some time. Let me tell you.
No, Melanie, when you go back, make sure Nick gets a.
Okay, yeah, I'll just go.
You know where I am.
You know where you're 30 seconds away from Chibnall's house.
Yeah. Just go to that cliff and stand on the top and shout.
I have it here at the pre-approved spot, or I'll just go to one of the little shacks with little chippy places. Like it's here. You know,
that's right. Where they sell fish and chips. Some of those have just recently opened, actually.
Oh my god!
Well, that's why, because now I'm kind of recollecting that area and thinking, wait, it's tiny. It's a very intimate, cute little community. Because we ended up staying for at a B&B that was nearby. It's called the George or something. I think it was called.
Oh, the George. Yeah, that's in this country we call that a hotel. But it is very small. Yeah, the George. They do a lovely pint there.
Yes,
I've often walked down and sat outside and had a pint on my own.
But I remember on a weekend that they had like a huge, I guess it was like just on the weekends that it was big on motorcycles that the community would go out there and just park like there and just have.
That is every weekend.
So
that happens every weekend.
They're not social distancing, are they? They're not.
Well, no, they are actually. They've got metal barriers up, and the guys they put big sort of stone seats in there a while ago, and now the guys, I noticed them all sitting at each end of the seat, so they're doing pretty well. What we're talking about here is not a group of violent people. We're talking about old guys who've had their bikes for decades.
Weekend warriors.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And they're very quiet and very. Yeah, but that's been like that for years and years. That West Bay, the area is called, is very is famous for the bikers all turning up. Yeah, they are social distancing. They've changed the road priorities there, so you can't go all the way around it now to help people to social distance.
Okay,
it's all fascinating. I hope you're all writing this down.
All right. I'm sorry. My apologies about that. Me and Nick are just kind of reminiscing about I'm reminiscing about the area.
Did you see the YouTube video with the lone Dalek out in the cul-de-sac?
What was he doing? Where it got picked up by the trash van or something?
No. It was just moving around because everybody was in quarantine in their houses.
Isolate.
So the Dalek's moving around in the cul-de-sac by himself, going, "We have taken over." It was just so cool. Everybody stay in your homes. I'm like, and the Dalek was enforcing the lockdown. So I'm like, this has got to be the best way to tell people stay home there.
Oh, brilliant.
Speaking of staying home, let me go back to the chats just a little bit. We want to introduce Don Coulter. Good morning from Northern California. Yeah, well, thank you, Don, for joining us out there.
Morning.
Meredith is back, and she says, "Is that a Dalek in your pocket? Are you just happy to?"
Oh,
shame on you, girl! Shame on you. There's Meredith, bad. I love you, but bad, very bad.
We love her because she's bad. I think you'll find.
Exactly, that's it. Faith is back. Florida beaches are full of shells. Tread lightly there.
Dredging.
And JR says, "Love that picture. Faith is awesome." And right back at you, doctor. So the doctors are talking to each other.
That's nice, isn't it?
It is nice, and
it's like being in a Doctor Who special.
It's like when the two masters get together, Missy and Master, and they're all flirting with each other. It's like those two. Yes. Like, you two, no. Speaking of flirting with each other, when we return, we're going to conclude our discussion with Nick Briggs. We promise we're going to talk more about his new audio book, The Human Frontier. When we return, please continue to stay logged on, tune in, and check out bigfinish.com when we return. Please continue to become part of the legend. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Legend of the Traveling Tardis for the final segment here. Stop it, Nick. No. For the final segment here, with our interview with Nick Briggs, known him best as the voice of the Daleks and other lots of other monsters, as he's put into our intro beforehand, and also BigFinish.com. Yes, if you could line up every Doctor Who audiobook, line them up against all the video Doctor Who's, I don't even think they come close to the videos wise to the audios. I think time wise, I think the audios there are more audios than there are videos in length, right? I think hour-wise.
I think you may be right. I think we have done more.
I think there's more audios than there are videos. Yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't like to, swear to that, but I'm pretty certain.
I think it's almost, well, we add everything in now with Torchwood, with all the other audios out there. Definitely surpasses it, but that includes all the shows that exist. It's amazing. We're talking more about his new book. Where is it? Sorry, his new audio, The Human Frontier, and I believe that's the cast, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right. It's a very small cast, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
But it's an epic story.
Who's the woman on the right? Because she looks so familiar.
Lucy Briggs Owen, with the longer hair.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Lucy's been in a lot of Big Finish stuff. She was in the War Doctor, actually, the first one. Playing the companion in that. Lucy does lots of stuff for us. I actually told her a while back that the rule was she had to be in everything I directed.
Okay.
I can't quite make that true. And the fact, by the way, that Briggs is in her name, we are not related in any way. I don't think Briggs is actually really a part of her name. It was sort of inserted there to make her name different for the Actors Union equity. So yeah, she's not a Briggs at all. I think she's an Owen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And what about the other cast members out here?
Well, there's Clive Wood, who's just behind Lucy there, who is I was so pleased to work with him because he's someone who, when I was growing up, I saw at the Royal Shakespeare Company and on so many big TV dramas. And he's such a fantastic actor with a real sort of Shakespearean energy and power to him. Pepta in the middle there sort of plays the main character. Mm-hmm. She was new to me, but she was recommended to me by Scott Hancock, who does a lot of directing and producing for us. And I heard her clips and just thought she was amazing. And she has a sort of, she was always apologizing for herself, saying, I haven't done much audio. Am I doing it the right way? Sort of like getting really involved and being physical. And I said, that's exactly what it's meant to be, Pepta. Pepta's got a quality about her where the acting is so good that it doesn't sound, you feel like you're eavesdropping on a real person going through a real experience. It's quite amazing. She's incredible. And there's Genevieve Gaunt there next to her with the glasses and the slightly shorter hair. Genevieve, again, I've worked with her quite a lot. She was in The Prisoner, as was Lucy Briggs Owen as well. And then Mark Elstock behind her, who, of course, played the prisoner for us, number 6 in our versions of the prisoner. And of course, didn't have a beard when he did that.
So it's almost like Harry Potter, Doctor Who. If you're going to be in one, you're going to be in the other. It's like Big Finish. You have a free range of all the audios. And of course, so we recycle actors, and that's a good thing.
Mentioning Harry Potter there, Genevieve was in the Harry Potter films when she was a kid.
Oh, wow.
I can't remember who she played, but I've seen photographs of her as a little tiddler.
I'm just curious, what inspired you with the story of the Human Frontier? Where does that originate? Where does that come from?
The inspiration for me is just this whole business of how everything is about context. We try to create rules for ourselves, but given you look at different views throughout history, and we change our minds about stuff so often, and yet we're always so certain we're right about it.
Right.
I think there are certain, you you would say like, killing people is a bad idea, but there have been times in history when killing people has been fine, isn't it? And there are still times in history, if there was a big war tomorrow against someone that we all thought was terrible, we'd suddenly reverse our decision on taking human life, wouldn't we? And yet we think that's a solid, I don't want to get into specifics, but what I'm saying is, that's what fascinates me about human beings. We're always so certain that our world picture is correct. I'm as guilty of that as anyone else. I'm not accusing anyone of anything that I don't think I'm guilty of. And yet, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to put people in a situation where everything they believed was questioned, and the fear and the anxiety that creates, and how you can ultimately resolve that, or maybe you can't ever. I mean, I'm a little bit pessimistic about humanity, but at the same time, I'm extremely inspired by us as well. I think we can do incredibly good things. I mean, this whole pandemic that you've seen, I mean, you've seen examples of both kinds of behavior, really, haven't you? Yeah, so that was if you're asking me for the root inspiration, that's what I wanted to do. And then, of course, I want to do stuff with lots of cool spaceships and monsters and spacesuits and stuff like that, because that's the window dressing I love. So yeah, and I wanted to create a story that spanned centuries and really touched on, you know, the nature of humanity. And I was very pleased to come across that title, which, although I believe has been used as a Star Trek book title.
It has.
But it's but I've never read that book. But and it has but I've trademarked it, so it's mine.
Nice.
You can look it up. I own it.
Yeah, I do want to ask, because you were talking about The Prisoner earlier, which of course you wrote the 12 episodes of The Prisoner Big Finish did, and you carried over a lot of the cast. And it occurred to me, having listened to the set and being one of those rave reviews you were talking about earlier.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. Over on Warp Factor for anybody who needs convincing, warpfactor.com.
That was a lovely review. Thank you. Yes,
You're most welcome, sir. But I wanted to ask, because it occurred to me, you know, you talking about the various things it's about, but one of the things that for me kind of crossed over from The Prisoner into the human frontier is the idea of our relationship with technology. And also the kind of the existential question of, is there, you know, how much free will do we actually have? You know, even sending people out into space, everybody ultimately ends up questioning how much is of what I'm doing is actually what I want to do, rather than somebody pushing me into something. Was that a deliberate kind of thing on your part to kind of explore that? And given that you brought over, you know, a good chunk of the cast of The Prisoner over, was that something deliberate that you were thinking of when you were writing it?
Definitely, Matthew. You've put your finger right on that. That's another thing that really goes through all my work, because we all think we're in control. And what actually my belief is, and I'll apologize if I offend anyone listening, my belief is that what really is in control is coincidence. Because when you get a system like human reality, the human race and human history, and if you drew lines between all the different events connected to all the people, it's vastly complex. And the fact that there are coincidences of those lines is pure coincidence. We all like to believe we're in control. You know, it would be great if I could believe that the reason I'm the voice of the Daleks is because I'm a complete and utter genius at it, and it was predestined that I should get the job. Now, that's just not true. I was just lucky. I've been really unlucky in so many other respects. I won't bore you with we get the small violins out and play them. But in that one respect in my life, I was really lucky. I was really lucky that, you know, I became friends with Gary Russell back in the days of doing fan audio stuff. And it's led to me doing the job I do now, you know, running the creative side of Big Finish. And likewise, you know, show the trajectory of Russell T Davies. There he was in Wales doing that on television or whatever he was doing, not before Doctor Who, I mean, and me just piddling around, being unemployed, not really doing much, not knowing where I was going. And our lines cross, and Russell T Davies changes my life forever, you know, making me the voice of the Daleks. The thing about being the voice of the Daleks, although it's crazy and maybe a bit sad, it's a thing, isn't it? And if people know Doctor Who and they meet you and say, well, what do you do? And you say, well, I do the voice of the Daleks. They're going to go, oh, the voice of the Daleks. I mean, that's just such a wonderful thing to have happen to you. That, of course, the best thing on the other side of it, you know, just to prick my pomposity, is people who live or been grown up in territories that didn't have Doctor Who. Right. And you say, well, I do the voice of the Daleks. They go, what's that? And you think, means nothing, you know. So yes, definitely this whole aspect of control. And of course, in the human frontier, people of a certain section of people have got these augmented artificial intelligences in their head. So they constantly can call up like a heads-up display and access other information and talk to each other through the AIs or whatever. So, you know, the idea of, is the AI controlling them or are they controlling the AI? And does it matter anyway? You know, because people could say we're controlled by, these devices, these phones, which we never leave alone. I mean, of course, it can't control me. It can't sort of come marching up to me and biff me over the head if I don't do what it wants. But I'm so compelled by. I was distracted just a moment ago because I was getting some WhatsApp messages. It controls me,
Well, I think you said it. Here's the funny part. You mentioned Star Trek, and I think this recalls. I remember this scene. I don't know if you saw. I think it was Deep Space Nine. There's a scene where Quark is talking about the humans to Nog, and I'm paraphrasing the whole scene, but he basically said the human race are a bunch of wonderful, great people, but take away their safeties and their comforts, and you see what they're really inside. So I think
a really good way.
That's and I think you're seeing it now today in our current world, where we see the future like Star Trek. We see what is that? Oh God, I'm stealing a line from the movie Nixon. I don't know if you remember that movie. It's Anthony Hopkins as Nixon. He's looking at JFK, and in the picture room, he's going like, when they see you, they see what they want to be. When they see me, they see who they really are. And I thought that was the most powerful line to say that humans, when they have what they need, their creature comforts, their cell phones, and they've got it, they are in a comfortable position because they have everything that they need in what they consider the basics.
You're absolutely right. Yeah. And if you strip all that away, what are you left with? A vicious animal, really, that's fighting for survival.
How many times have you seen somebody where this thing has gone out and gone completely ballistic? Monstrous at some time. Because
and just when you can't get your own way. I mean, I went bonkers last night because I was rewriting a script, and I didn't get the author sent me the script back, but he didn't put all the changes in the tracking. And you would have the tracking in a Word document, and you would have thought that someone had shot one of my dearest friends by the way I was behaving. For 5 seconds, I completely lost it, and then went, Sorry to my wife. That's a ridiculous thing to lose my temper about. But just show, as you say, take away the thing that we think is important, and we will just go berserk about it.
Yeah. I think that's why people also tend to believe in conspiracy theories, because at least then somebody has control. Whether it may not be you, but somebody has control over something. No matter how absurd it is.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point. The fact of the matter is that largely, the human race is also useless and incompetent and messes things up. I think I don't call myself a great conspiracy theorist. I don't subscribe to those things. But in my life personally, I'm quite often saying I think that probably they said blah blah blah. And you think, hold on a sec, maybe it was just a mistake. Maybe they didn't get the call, whatever. You know what I mean? And it's because we're seeking meaning all the time. Yes. We want everything to make sense, which is why people love stories, because life doesn't make sense, but stories quite often do. And that's why we're drawn to stories. Storytelling is the process of making sense of random coincidences. That's what it is. Thank you.
No problem.
It's allowing you to see the architecture of how all these events kind of just combined, and then you had that problem. Because I'm one of those people. I firmly believe, like, if something happens, it didn't happen because of one specific reason. At least 5 different little things set into motion made you have that car accident. Whether it was you finally left early, you left late, the other person.
But if you expand from those 5 things, it's probably 1,000. Things. My mother has a phrase. She's 90 years old, 91 this year, and she'll say, "Oh, what is to be will be." And I try not to argue with her about it, but it's not true. What is what is to be will be. That's not true. I said, "No, Mum. If you don't walk into the road without looking, then you won't get run over. So you are in control as much as you can be. Of course, if someone decides to land a helicopter on your house and come through the roof, then you have no control over that." Right. I don't know why I'm thinking of this crazy stuff. But
speaking of no control, we're actually running out of time. Let me jump into the chats real. I know we were just having a good time. I told you this is a 2-hour show. Where can we find the audio drama of the Human Frontier?
Something
I get excited, Nick, every time you show me a Dalek. So I'm like, where can we find the audio drama Human Frontier? It's at There you go.
BigFinish.com.
There it is. BigFinish.com. Tell them the Legend of the Traveling Tardis sent you there. Let's get back. Let's just finalize the chats. Is there a line or quote within the Human Frontier that is your favorite? Ooh, that's a good question.
Oh gosh,
Wow.
I just can't.
Moving on. Anyway, finish website.
Someone says you're, but only human. That's the thing. Someone says you're, but you're so human, and she says, but only human.
Wow. Gotcha. Chris K. David, thanks for joining us from Big Finish website. Oh, he puts a link up there. Ranges Drama Showcase. Thank you there.
Oh.
Don Coulter, Nick, did you ever have a line that was difficult to speak or trip over tongue twister?
Yes, it's welcome to the Traveling Tardis. I said welcome to the Traveling Time Lord. That's the most
difficult line. Candace Rochette, when sci-fi becomes reality, it's not cool as we have seen on the screen. Okay.
Well, that's true.
That's true. Don Coulter, the butterfly effect, and Faith says, thank you, Nicholas Briggs.
Oh, thank you.
James, I'm just going to do this for you if you can hear me. James, put your camera on. Just do it. We're wrapping up the show, but I want to do it. There you go. This is James Engstall from
Hello
Geek to Me Radio, and I just want to give him a chance to say hi. If
he's
muted. You're muted though, James.
James,
James, you're muted.
Yeah.
Little button on the bottom left side.
Yay!
There you go.
Yay!
So I want to give you a chance. He's part of the team.
Sorry, the time change. I was looking at you're on the East Coast, and I got the time change wrong because it's all wibbly wobbly, timey wimey. Sorry.
That's okay.
Very nice to see you, though, Nick.
Speaking of which, Nick, Faith asked me to do this. This is her as the 13th Doctor.
Looks fantastic.
She looks absolutely gorgeous there.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nicholas Briggs, for coming on here. BigFinish.com, please. BigFinish.com. They have sales. Where do you want to start? Well, you know what? I'll tell you what. If you want to ever PM me or just send me a message, I will help you out start. It took me a while. I started at the Holy Terror, which is still today my favorite episode because it was something that was kind of unique because it started off what I thought was going to be a comedy and ended up in a heart-wrenching tragedy.
And that's what made me friends with Rob Shearman. I thought I have to meet the man who wrote that.
Yes, it was just a piece. It's a gorgeous piece of work for me. But you can find your own stuff at bigfinish.com. And again, please tell them the Legend of the Traveling Tardis that sent you there. Nick, any final words? Definitely want to check out the new audio of the Human Frontier. We're going to be downloading it and reviewing it later on, and then we can harass Nick when he's not here. Talk about his new audio.
I will be listening. Yeah, my final word is that I regret my remarks about Rob Shearman's beard. It's lovely.
Anything else about Rob you want to regret, or just his beard?
It's not like a garden full of weeds at all.
All right, well, thank you everybody from all of us here at the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. James, please check out Geek to Me Radio when you get a chance, and Matthew, check out Concast Cerberus. We're going to be there in October. Hopefully, some more guests will be joining us, but we're definitely going to be out there with a bunch of other podcasters. Earth Station Who, the 20 megabyte podcast. Am I right about
20 megabyte Doctor Who podcast?
Yeah. Melanie Dean, check out her work on Pieces of Melee at your Instagram. And thank you all for coming. Thank you, Nick, and always continue to become part of the legend.
Thank
Melanie,
you.
Melanie, have we cut? Okay. We're still live, Nick, but this is just the after broadcast. If we wanted anybody to chat or anything like that, if you want to stay, go ahead. If you need to go, I truly understand. But why is everybody got to look at your dog?
It just amuses me. I like in-camera effects.
If somebody could take this video and put some 70s music, the adult film music behind it as it's going up and down.
I was thinking that could be like the wipe from now on when we go to a commercial. If it's on, just mirror. That's exactly it.
But
okay, we'll use this.
Yeah, Nick. Well, you know what? I think I'm going to end the broadcast because there's some things I do want to talk to you about off the air there. But is there anything?
Okay.
I mean, the audio recording is over at this moment. We're just at the after broadcast party, so people can. Kevin Mize. Kevin Mace, is there a Dalek
a
in your
Dalek?
screen? Or are you just having to say yes?
Window theater.
Don't
It's both.
encourage the man. Don't encourage the man there. For everybody who was with us, we'll go ahead and end the broadcast. But for everybody who was with us here for both interviews, thank you so much. The audios of these interviews will be coming out later on in the weeks. We still have still coming out Yi Cho. We still have Terry Malloy. I think he's actually dropped today. Terry Malloy dropped today.
Annette Badland had done last week.
Annette Badland was last week.
Saturday. I think it's Terry Malloy.
Yeah,
was today.
Nick, we've been busy. We've been busy.
Well, funny enough, there's a lot of people that are stuck in their homes on quarantine.
Exactly.
And get on and we're like, hey, do you want to do an interview? Sure. Can we plug anything? Yes. Here we go.
In fact, it was Rob Sherman who goes, "Oh, are you still doing that show?" Like, what?
Because of his book.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just like, oh yeah, we're still doing the show. And he goes, yeah, let's talk. And I said, I want to talk to the man who wrote Scared So and The Holy Terror, which is still two of my favorites today. But
I like The Holy Terror. I don't like Scared So.
You don't like The Holy Terror?
No, I like The Holy Terror.
Oh, you like The Holy Terror?
Yeah.
Don't like Scared So. You don't like Scared So.
Don't like Scared So.
I mean,
you don't. No one knows how to say it. Skirt so, shirt so.
You don't like the word, or you don't like
net so. Yeah. What's that bit where they have to eat each other or something? I mean, what is the matter with Rob?
We're talking about Rob, who said, and I almost quote, you know, there's a pandemic out there. Yeah, it's a bit of an inconvenience. This is the same man. So
that'll be Rob.
That'll be Rob there.
That entire interview was just him on a microphone and us giggling like idiots.
Exactly.
That was literally it. It was like, hold on, we got to go commercial. Okay, and Rob, go.
And we started doing something which is now catching on recently.
Muting him. No.
Well, muting him, yeah. But we had, we're kind of growing into this now too, because I don't know if you know, Simon Fisher-Becker is part of our panel. He literally is part of the Traveling Tardis panel, and he actually gets to interview the other actors and techs and all those guys who've worked out there. Unfortunately, he wanted to be on this episode, but he couldn't because of time-wise. He had something going on.
I'm sorry to miss him. He's a charming fellow.
He is a wonderfully charming fellow. However, I decided we were going to interview Tim Treloar, and I finally got a hold of Tim. And we had just recently interviewed Katie Manning. So I thought, you know, it would be a great idea to put Katie on the panel and have all of us interview Tim.
It was mostly Katie interviewing Tim.
It was mostly Katie reviewing
Tim. How did that go?
But she kept going off on different tangents too, and they just played. It was wonderful. It was an amazing interview.
We had a very
well together. Yeah.
We had a very interesting technical issue because Katie could not get her Wi-Fi up to par. It wouldn't work on the StreamYard. So what did we come up with? Tim grabs his cell phone, puts her on FaceTime. So he's literally holding the cell phone and putting up to the microphone every time that Katie says something so that she could be part of it. And it's just Katie and Tim for basically flirting for the most part. And it's just like,
I presume they told the story about how she locked herself in the loo.
Yes.
Yeah. And then, that's hilarious. We're all sitting there and his phone goes. He's like, "Oh, it's Katie." He said, "Where are you, love?" "She's in the loo. She can't get out."
But she made sure that she came with like great questions on like things that we weren't going to be able to ask because she knew when you approached going with, you know, the third Doctor, you know, you have to emulate Pertwee, but don't emulate him because that's not going to be, you're emulating an actor and doing an impression. How do you go ahead and get to the role of it's the third Doctor? What did you do? I mean, she had brilliantly constructed questions on top of just the effervescence that's Katie. Of going, hold on a second, love. I can't see my question. Wait. Okay. This is what.
Gotcha. No, but they talk about it a lot when we're doing it as well. You know, they talk about it quite seriously, and she's incredibly supportive of him because, you know, she could have. We had no idea whether she would agree to it really, but she gave it a go, and you know, and hit it off with Tim straight away. No, she's a wonderful human being, Katie. One of a kind, really. Yeah.
Oh, I loved it. I don't remember where the interview is. Just, we asked her like when they came up with the idea of the third Doctor, and now it's going to be this guy. What would you go? And she got, however she talks, darling, he did not sound like John. I would never done this episode. I would never come back. So like, I got it, and he does. He's spot on there. James, I feel so bad. Did you have any questions for Nick? While it won't be in the audio, but we have the after broadcast party if you want to. Had a question for Nick.
I'm excited to go back. I'm so sorry I missed this. I had my alarm set for the wrong time, and I got up and I was doing my thing, and I was like, I'm gonna check, and I looked at the messages and saw that it was already happening. So no, I'm good. I don't want to take up any time. I just it's nice to actually meet Nicholas Briggs.
Yeah, enough of these.
I was wearing my Dalek shirt though for the occasion. I had it all set to
nice.
go.
It's waving things, is it?
It is. It's one of those anatomy of the type of.
Hey.
So, yeah.
You know how they have that video where they repeat something for 10 hours there, Nick? It should just be you panning down to your Dalek and going back. That should be a GIF now. Somebody make that a GIF on the show.
Should definitely do it. Yeah.
I'm going to end the broadcast now because I just have a few questions for the Nick. For the Nick.
Capital T, capital N.
But everybody, thank you for joining us there. We appreciate you. And always, if you want to subscribe, you can find us anywhere on the podcast. Meredith, you bad girl. It was a pleasure to listening in. Yep. Thank you, Meredith, for joining. Thank you, Meredith, for making all this happen, because without you, we couldn't do the broadcast live. We want to thank you. Check out any of her stuff. Subscribe to her YouTube. Melanie, everyone else may have a Dalek, but you have a TARDIS. I know.
I have a billion other figures. I have more Sonics and Fourth Doctor. I have the Fourth Doctor figure as the curator. I don't have a Dalek in here. I don't.
What? You're dead to me.
I've got Titan things. I've got Titan comic books. I've got no Dalek.
You might want to pay one right now while he's still on the line. So
I've got a great mug.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
nice.
That's
That is gorgeous.
That's Frontier in Space, isn't it? It's the Master's shirt.
Yes.
And also there's the Exelon.
Oh my god! All right, we'll end the live broadcast, but Nick, stick around. I just had a few questions for you. Thank you, everybody, and continue to become part of the legacy.
Bye, folks.